Urban Therapy with Sun 752, and this is your daily Gogetemism number 143 for February 25th, 2015. And in our daily Gogetemism Black History Month spotlight today, I want to talk about black language, black communication. Black language and black communication, some people may write that off as ebonics, or some people may call it nigger talk or that hood language, or a whole lot of derogatory names. Ebonics is not necessarily a derogatory term because that was somebody's attempt to try to make sense of the way that we talk. But it made it seem like Ebonics was just a derivative or a slang of another language, because a lot of the terms used in Ebonics was what they were slangs. And that's not the way all black people talk. But black people do have a certain vernacular about them. Like, you can call it an accent, you can call it a twang, you can call it sort of like an American patois is what I choose to call it. Communication is very important amongst all cultures. You have to be able to communicate effectively to whoever you're speaking to. And as we all know, all communication doesn't involve language. There's body language, and there are other ways that you can communicate to get your point across. And if the other person receives it well, then the communication is effective and it's good enough. And that's what I think about black language. Just because we a lot of us don't speak what you would call proper English does not mean that we don't communicate effectively. It just may mean that because of our environment, the accent that we put on certain words make us sound a certain type of way, which is identifiable to other people who are not of our culture, and even to people who are in our culture. When you call somebody on the telephone, you normally can tell who you're talking to, unless they have taken great steps to make sure that you can't understand that. And I know that many black people have taken great steps to not sound black on the telephone. Now, what I don't appreciate about that is first of all, I don't see anything wrong with sounding black. I do have some concerns about sounding ghetto, or not using words that people understand, sticking to a certain cultural method that alienates other people. That's not a good idea, especially when you're trying to do business or receive something from somebody, or get them to understand you and appreciate you for who you are. But when it comes to language, in the United States, in my opinion, I don't think that anybody has the right to say that we don't speak proper English because we may sound like black people. First of all, white people don't speak proper English in this country either. We have to remember that the English language was created in England. And if you have ever visited England, like I have, they do not talk the same way that Americans talk. So maybe there's a such thing as American Standard Proper English, but it's still a derivative of English Proper Standard English. And if we're not speaking that, then we are still speaking improper English as far as the English are concerned. Now, I'm not really concerned about the English, but the English have black people over there too, and they have their own way of speaking. Mostly Jamaicans and other people from the Caribbean, but it doesn't take away from the fact that they try to take steps to not alienate people because of their culture, their culture. I think communication is the key. I think that as long as a person knows what you're talking about, and you can keep communicating with them effectively so they understand where you're coming from and you understand where they're coming from, then that communication is perfect. I don't have a problem with that. Now, some people are going to have a problem with that, and there are places where you do have to know how to switch it up, smooth it out, and be able to communicate on a level that is going to do more favors for you than harm. For instance, in a job interview, it's not a good idea to use any slang or to try to project yourself as keeping it real or something like that. You don't want to do that. But you know, um, it doesn't take a lot of practice to be able to shake off those rough edges. And if you're going for a job in the first place, more than likely you have gone to school for a number of years, maybe a high school diploma or college or something. So you know the right way to speak. So you don't have to go in there like it's some type of sitcom and talk like a white person. Like, hey, listen, my name is Chad Silverman, and I'd really like to get this job because I work really well with others, and I have a great interest in making money for this company, and I'm self-motivated, and I just like really like to do a great job because I'm a leader, and I will lead this company into financial bliss because I'm Chad Silverman. That's the voice I used to use when I used to do telemarketing. And people used to give me leads because it sounded white. And there is a such thing as sounding white. Now the funny thing about talking about black communication, black language, black people have the ability to sound like other black people because in every region of the country we have a different vernacular, we have a different accent. So people on the West Coast talk different than people that on the East Coast, and people from the East Coast sound different than the people in the Dirty South, and people in the Dirty South sound different from people in the Midwest, and sometimes there are people from all different places, in places like New York and Atlanta and Miami, Philadelphia. You know, there are places where if you are a plant, as they call it, that's what they call people who come from another place and reside in a different place other than where they were born and raised. The point is that you communicate well. The point is that people understand what you're talking about. The point is that you're able to get your point across. And if you can do that, there's nothing wrong with sounding black. You know, I have a problem with anybody that has a problem with being black. You know, I'm funny about that. I don't like people running around talking about, I don't want a black doctor working on me. I don't go to black stores. I don't want to be around a bunch of black people. You know, and they don't always say black. I don't want these niggas. I don't want to be around a bunch of niggas acting like nigga this and nigga that. And I'm thinking like, so who you want to be around? Because who you desire to be around says a lot about you, and it says a lot about the way you feel about yourself. Black people have no business spewing more hate about themselves and their people. But that's a mental slavery thing, and we've talked about that on one of these videos. But the beat goes on. Bottom line is, you shouldn't be afraid to express yourself and to represent where you come from. There's nothing wrong with that. I normally go out of my way to try to sound black. I don't have to practice because I'm black. But there was a time, when I grew up, my mom and my dad made me speak proper English. They wanted to make sure that I knew how to pronounce certain words, and I do. But I still like to, put on my little hood talk when I can, and as often as I can, because I like that. And that's where it's at. So you can't change where you're from. So be proud of that, and be proud of the people that raised you. And that's whoever that might be, your mom, your dad, your siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, but also the neighbors and your friends and your classmates, anybody. They all had a hand in raising you and shaping you. And I don't think that they raised you and shaped you to be ashamed of yourself. So don't do that. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours. Speak that black language, but speak that black intelligent language and let them know that you represent your race, but that you are as good of a communicator as anybody else. And you will get that point across, and you'll do it in a black way. and they're gonna love it. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. Make sure y'all check out the Urban Therapy with Sun show tonight. Ooh, the thing's gonna be hot to death. All right, we're talking about being married to somebody, but in love with somebody on the internet. Ooh, that thing's gonna be smoking. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 347-677-1533. Make sure y'all check that thing out tonight. It's gonna be on fire. We can have a discussion afterwards, and we could definitely talk about it beforehand. I'll holler at y'all then. Oh, go to Blog Talk Radio. Excuse me, blogtalkradio.com/Sun752. And you can get that up in that chat room, or you can just call 347-677-1533. No PC needed. You can listen to the entire show. You don't have to speak just because you call in. You can just listen to the show. And that's a lot better than that Empire bullshit. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. Peace.